Good morning, sunshines. Oh my gosh, look at that. What's that? That's probably milk from an adventure we went on. It was great. We'll talk about that later, but not today. That's not for today's conversation. We're going to dive into the question of, are you giving your daughter an eating disorder, or maybe your friends or people around you? Is this contagious? And we'll talk about the mental health of eating disorders, because we're doing mental health things this week. So as you guys jump on, say good morning, sunshine, #GMS. If eating disorders or nutrition or those types of things aren't in your wheelhouse or your mindset, nothing you're challenged with, this is still a great conversation because it's something you can apply to other areas of your life. So don't tune out, tune in. All right. As you jump on, say good morning, sunshine, or #GMS, #GMS to all of you guys out there. It is an absolute gorgeous morning right here where I'm at. So I'm wishing you beautiful, gorgeous weather. What's something you are grateful for today? Like your thing, like something that's just like lighting you up this day. Share with everybody so they can interact with you guys. I had a really good one. What was it? I always think of like a special one I want to share with you guys. And gall dang it, because I'm grateful for everything. Why can't I remember? It's fine. I'm going to come back to it. And I'm going to be grateful for this water that I'm drinking right now. I'm grateful for car cleaners so that it's not always like that. I'm grateful for my brakes because I had to hit my brakes when somebody ripped out in front of me and then spilled little coffee creamers all over, because Quincy thinks coffee creamers are a treat. So sometimes you give them to him when you're bribing him, but when you're driving and then it spills all over the car because of that, that happens. There's gratitudes for you guys. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and use that one. And also, it's Friday. So on Friday, we discuss our personal development. At least that is what I'm talking. Maybe not when you're watching. Your personal development, your mindset training. What programs do you love? What have you tried that's great for you? What's some book recommendations you have for friends? Or what are you reading or actively doing right now? Share those different things with us. This is so interesting. I love it, where I can see how people are different, like jumping on at different times. And oh my gosh, heck yes, Christine, get it, girl. Because I think that this is an intimidating subject that some people want to tune out of. So they're like tuned out at this moment. So that's fun. But we are going to dive into now your behaviors, what you're doing, how you're showing up, and how that may or may not be impacting the people around you. And then I will just share a little bit more about eating disorders, because we're talking about mental health this week. So last week, I kind of just opened the doors and opened my household to you guys and started sharing about me and my daughter and some things that we've been going through over the last year since COVID. And this crazy array of things. And she has not only given me permission to talk about these things, but she wants people to know so that they don't get where she's gotten, and also so they know that they're normal. Like knowing that they're not so like weird and like, I don't know, like she knows that people need this. And the other thing is she has friends who are impacted by this. And she wants and has hope for them to find, answers and solutions. But she's like, Mom, not everybody has a mom like you. Like, not everybody has somebody who's supportive and who's going to communicate with them about these things. In fact, some other parents are doing things that are confusing their kids more, that are pushing it deeper, that are making it worse, right? So she wants me to be able to communicate with it about these things. So I kind of shared last week about how this all came about. She was a competitive gymnast. And I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to talk about us as mothers and what we're doing to our kids too. But my daughter's been a competitive gymnast all of her life, up until just like right before COVID. Her body was breaking down. She couldn't do it anymore. She was injured all the time. And finally, she's like, it's just time for me to be done. Like literally, she was hurt all the time. So she stops gymnastics. She starts doing dive. She starts her track with school, and then COVID hits. And at this point, this is where she's like, she didn't understand how to take care of her body. Not to mention the fact that now all of a sudden she wasn't around any real humans. So her only interaction with other people was through social media, which is where everyone looks perfect, with quotes around it, right? At least everybody she was following, all the teenage girls only showing their best, their highlights, their the greatest physiques, and her mind, her brain starting to train and rewire to think that everybody should be a size 0 and look a certain way and have apparently a thigh gap, because that's a thing. Like people seek out a thigh gap, which is really only a result of having wider set hips. Like your bones and your hips have to be wider in order to have a thigh yet. So it's really stupid, super stupid. But, and she knows that now too, right? But, so all of this started to come about. And, at this time, you guys have to imagine what it was like for Kinsey to have me as a mom. Right? As she's starting to go through these mental struggles of what it means to be like, to show up to a healthy lifestyle. I know that I promote a healthy lifestyle. And I'm not promoting, I'm not even promoting dieting. I'm just promoting, teaching people how to get in the right nutrients, the right times of the day, how to enjoy working out. But regardless, she's surrounded by me all the time. She hears me doing calls all of the time, teaching people about macros, about 10% protein ratio, about, how to manage and understand how calories to burning work. So she's hearing it and hearing it and hearing it and hearing it. And she's seeing me celebrate people who are down 15 pounds, 40 pounds, 100 pounds. So here I am nonchalantly reinforcing the idea in her head that she has to look a certain way in order to be accepted and loved. And especially to compare to all those other social media, I don't want to say like fake people, but like the people that are only showing the real. I am literally in the parking lot where people are now like, wow, what is she doing? Like, it's so great because there are a lot of people right around me. It's awesome. Okay. So this is what's happening in our world, right? And I'm just going to keep going through the story and then we'll bring this all together. So with this, she started developing some different things and she was really, really good at hiding it. She was very stressed, she had stress, depression, anxiety going on. So we ended up looking at this and it ended we took her to the doctor and the doctor's like, I think she has an ulcer because she's consistently sick by different foods. Well, I don't know if she was consistently sick by different foods as opposed to just really good at hiding it and building an excuse around, I can't eat that, or that. I have to eat the exact same things at the exact same times. Like she started to get OCD around eating, like where she had to eat this at 6:50. I'm like, she had to eat like right at this time, right? And the house had to look a certain way and it had to be a certain amount of clean and everything had to be structured a certain way. And everything had to be perfect for her, in order to have the consumer food because she was building excuses around this developing eating disorder that she was starting to get. And it was like Caley approved, it was mom approved, it was doctor approved, because none of us realized what she was really doing and how she was really hiding things, right? Because she was so good at it. And making it a health thing, right? And this is just like a glimpse into what happened. So for us, at this time, I don't know how much she lost. I think she lost like 15 pounds or so, maybe 13 pounds. She was like super happy with her body, although she wasn't. She was still shaming it. Yes, she realized it, Erin. We did not at this time. She just knew that, she didn't call it an eating disorder. It was food obsession at that time, just food obsession, right? Figuring it out. So in the end, in August, she started to realize that she had created so many restrictions on herself that she couldn't have fun anymore. She couldn't go out to eat with the family. This is when misophonia started to develop. She couldn't be around people who were eating different foods. She started to miss being able to have a lifestyle. And she's like, I need to figure this out. So we had already had a therapist for different things for her. So we started to introduce the idea that she needed to learn how to eat normally again. And the thing is, you guys, is when I talk about eating disorders, most of you think anorexia or bulimia. At least that's what I did, right? Either she's barfing it out or she's not eating at all. Like she's way, way under eating. And the crazy thing is she wasn't doing either one of those. Because food disorders, mental illnesses come in all sorts of fashions, right? So eating disorders doesn't necessarily mean that you're at one of those extremes, and hopefully you can catch it before it gets to one of those extremes. For her, it was extreme food obsession. They call it now, they're giving it a name called orthorexia. It's not actually identified by the whatever, I don't know, association there is. But what that is where it's such an obsession with food that it's disrupting your life. So what I was watching is she's getting a nutrients. She was eating bread. She was eating veggies. She was eating fruits. She was eating all of the different things, and she was eating very consistently, right? But she was so obsessed about it that it was completely limiting her life. So that's a full different set that probably a lot more people have it, right, than they even realize. Overeaters, emotional eating, very common. Yeah, we'll go through some of these, and I love to hear what your guys' input is or stories or things that you have going on, right? So at this point, it was just complete obsession that was inhibiting her life. Not to mention, exercise compulsion, like where she was, running 7 to 8 miles. I went back and looked at her MyFitnessPal. I had no idea she was doing that many miles. Like she'd go out for a run, but she was like literally overdoing that, under eating. So now even though to me, she was eating like seemingly appears like she's eating the right amount. She's actually way under eating for what she was exercising, her output to input. Okay. So all of these different things could be showing up different ways, right? And for us, we had to identify she wanted a normal life, that this wasn't right. Doing things like, number one, removing social media, at least some of the different forms that are, what happens, I don't know if you guys are big like TikTokers, but what happens is, and even Instagram, depending on who you follow and who you interact with and where you're, double tapping and liking, those are going to be the items that create a For You page. And her For You was completely inappropriate in terms of what it was, giving to her, because now everything was about the skinniest, the fittest, the thigh gaps, the exercise, and then started talking about food disorders too, which was great because it brought light to it, but it also made her think, okay, so this is cool, like everybody else is doing it, which is kind of a thing. It was like, oh yeah, my friends, like they kind of support each other. She even talks about some of her and her friends that would kind of support each other in this, like, oh yeah, like it's almost like a competition, like who's eating less, right? Who's doing this better? So pardon me, that's been my experience over this last year, right? And for us, the recovery process has been identifying that it's a problem, right? Her wanting to recover and get better, me realizing that it was there, setting up appointments with our doctor, with a specific food, a dietitian or a food specialist or an eating disorder therapist. So we've done a couple different ones of those, and also addressing all the different things that are going on in her life, right? Since then, just so you guys know, because we're going to get into the other pieces of this, she is back up to her normal weight. So she's back up the 13 pounds she needed to be. She's very healthy. She's working through a lot of the things. She eats a lot of more normal things. She's not an exact schedule, but there's still some stuff there. There's still extreme guilt when she does, go off and have pizza, although she will do it, but there's guilt that's associated with it. So now we're learning like full on balance. Okay. That's my story, right? Let's get to this. The crazy thing about this is that I know we're talking about my situation right now, but 10% of the population has some sort of eating disorder, right? 10% of the population. 1 in 5 women struggle with eating disorders. 90% of those are between the ages of 12 to 25. And of those, the mortality rate is 12 times higher. So in our lives, 1 out of 5 people sit in a room with 5 other women. 1 of you guys are struggling with food, right? And not just like where I'm at. It's like, well, yeah, I want to lose some extra weight, or I want to get this under control. But really, it's negatively impacting your life. Your obsession with food, and getting results, your obsession with your body image is affecting your life. And that's just, I think, you guys, if I would have to say based off what I've been surrounded by and what, who I've been able to communicate with, it's way more than 1 out of 5 people, and maybe it's because who I attract, but people are obsessed with their body image. They're so dissatisfied with that little pocket of fat, or with anything. They're going to find something that's not right about their body, right? So the topic of today's conversation is, are we giving our kids to eating disorders? Are we the ones that are influencing them? And it feel like not your kid, a friend, somebody else, right? And the reason why I titled that is because our communication, the way we speak about ourselves, I want you guys to walk away with today's conversation knowing that what you're saying, your babies are listening. Your 8-year-old, your 12-year-old, your 17-year-old, your 25-year-old, she hears how you body shame yourself. When you say, I'm fat. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I need to limit this. I need to really, I need to go on another diet. They're listening to everything that you're saying. They're listening to all of it, right? And then they're looking in the mirror, and not only do they have social media who's influencing them in a negative way, now they've got their own parents, their own family, their own best friend who's body shaming themselves, and they're hearing it and they assume that's what it's all about. That's what they need to do, and that's the way that it is. Isn't that crazy? So really, we are doing this to our kids. And I know that I had a role in that. And, you know, for me, I'm doing my job. It's like now I try to remove myself sometimes when I'm having these conversations, when I'm coaching, so that Kinsey doesn't have to be around to hear it, because I know she hears it all the time. I've also really changed my coaching, my structure, over the last year. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Those of you who are in my programs, for me, it's way less about weight. It's way more about your mindset, your attitude, and your happiness. I don't have a scale. I have like people like, oh, like I used to share my scale, and people like to follow my journey. Oh, she's postpartum. Like, let's see what she's able to do. And they're following everything. We don't own a scale anymore. Right? Kinsey's like, how much do you weigh, Mom? Cause she was deadlifting me. I mean, not deadlifting me. She was squatting, like doing squat presses with me. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't weighed myself for 5 months. Right? No idea. So, it's such an interesting juxtaposition with what I do and where people are at. But the thing is that what we say, how we show up, and how we're treating ourselves not only affects ourselves, but it affects everybody else around you. And the more that you complain about your weight, your situation, you're just mean to yourself, when you're doing that around other people, they're absorbing your energy. Let alone, why would you be doing it to yourself? Right? So, there's so many other things I can go into, and I'm going to go way over if I do. But here's the different pieces of this. All right. Your attitude towards your body image is showing up in your life all over the place. And for me as a coach in this arena, this is why any of my clients who are having a hard time getting a grasp on just healthy eating, I don't want people to diet. I don't want people to over exercise. When people are like, oh yeah, I got to hit the gym and this is how many calories, and they're wearing their watches and they've got their heart rate monitor on. Like, that's great. You're finding something to track. Maybe that's motivating you. But if it's motivating you in an unhealthy way, you need to change those habits. Right? I'll sit in here at Lifetime now because it's for the childcare, right? But I'll sit on a treadmill or a bike or whatever just to get moving so I can focus. I literally turn the machine off before I even look at how far I went, how many calories I burnt, because I don't care, because that's not what it's about. It's about a healthy mindset, right? So this is why I push people. I'm like, you guys need to do I Am Journey. If you're not where you need to be emotionally around eating, then stop trying to find a health coach. Find a mind coach. You need somebody who's going to train your mindset, because that's what it's really about, right? And as you start to do this and you start to find joy and happiness instead of regret, stress, and anxiety based around food, you'll see that everything starts to take care of itself. And even if your body doesn't change, guess what? You change and you're happier with your body the way that it is, which is a beautiful thing. So, and Christine, I absolutely love you too, because this is what we're on, right? It's all about the mindset. It's about the habits that we're creating to love ourselves. So final thing, you guys, the way that I love myself healthily is I love to feed my body good nutrition. I love to get my shakes in because I know it has my vitamins and minerals that I need. I love to take my vitamins because I know that it's right for me. I love to move because I know that my heart's pumping and it's getting my endorphins going, right? I also love to eat pizza sometimes. I also love to have a cocktail. I also love to put my toes in the sand on my beach at night and just relax and laugh with my babies. And if it's going to involve some chips, it's going to involve some chips. It's very balanced, but it's coming out of a place of self-love instead of self-hatred. And I also love my body, and I know that it's not perfect, and I know I have cellulite, and I know I have extra weight on my booty, and I know that I don't have the big muscly butt that everybody wants, but guess what? I don't give a fuck. I don't. That's me. That's my body, right? I love myself, and it's taken me to be a 41-year-old woman to get there. And our little babies are hurting, and your babies around you might be hurting right now. Didn't think this was a cry one. So start to become aware. Take a look around. Communicate with the people who are hurting the lives around you. Right? I love you too, Mom. I didn't know you watched. I never even knew you watched. Just be aware. That's it. Be aware. And start loving yourself a little bit more, you guys. Stop being so freaking cruel to yourselves. You're beautiful and you're strong and you're perfect just the way you are. Go out and enjoy life and find happiness and be nice to your body. Be nice to it in all the different ways. Okay? All right. Ball fest. Way to go, Cal. Geez, start your day off like that. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being here for me. I love being able to coach you, support you in all of the different ways. And, you're so good. Sarah, I'll see you soon. We can do that together. I gotta go before this gets worse. I love you guys. Light and love.